So the one time I got the phone, I ended up telling the apartment name. I was like, this is me, this is my last day at school. I think I kind of introduced this term to them, and I also think I kind of introduced this term to my entire class. Crazy, I feel heckled. I think I wanted this for the longest time. So I'm like, on his last day, he posted pictures of everyone and their girlfriends, and he put, as a kid, okay, please don't hate me for this, don't curse me for this. I look good in this angle. Anyway, so before I start my story time, I've decided that in all of the videos I'll give a very unhinged, unpopular opinion. That is my original thought. So one such popular opinion is the funniest, is that I think Charlie XCX looks like Kangana Ranaut. I can't unsee it. Make me unsee it, guys. She looks like her. Moving on. So this story time is about a guy I happened to cross paths with in my 6th standard. So he was this 10th standard guy. I'll get into the details soon. How it started was during the annual day. Now I don't know how, if globally this is a phenomenon, but back in India it's a cultural movement for the school kids. What we have is like a year-end sort of a celebration where all of the students put together performances for parents and the rest of the students, rest of the teachers and management. And the teachers and the management are very serious about this. They put in a lot of effort and a lot of money is also invested into this. Costumes are brought in, makeup artists are brought in, choreographers are brought in. It's a huge deal. And culturally, it's also a huge deal for the students, because of course they're showcasing their talent, but it's also where you kind of get out of the class and do things that are beyond the curriculum. And it's also where a lot of romances start, a lot of friendships end, and a lot of cat fights happen. In general, it's a very fun 3-month process, because the practice starts 3 months before, and the whole school classes are suspended, and the whole school revolves around this one day. So it's super fun. At least in my school, I used to have so much fun during that time. But heads up, I am a horrible performer, and I would shy away from performing on stage, because I wouldn't really call myself a bad dancer. I think I dance really well. I mean, decent enough, but I'm a bad performer because I'm too nervous on stage. I'm too camera shy. Because everything is recorded. I'm very shy. I was very shy as a person. I mean, I was shy, but I was also very naughty. I don't know if these will overlap, but as we go through the story, you'll understand why I would categorize myself as a naughty person. But anyway, yeah, so I was a shy performer, but for some reason, for this particular year, I decided I will dance. I think my teachers forced me or something like that, but I decided I would dance. So all of our class our entire class was supposed to perform, and we were split into pairs. So we would be couples of sort, one boy, one girl, and we were supposed to dance, and we were given the song Hadippa. I'm going to put that song over here for you to know the vibe of it and imagine how everything unfolded. So usually what happens is either a choreographer is brought in from somewhere, or students who are seniors, who are really good dancers, are brought in to choreograph. And my sister is a really good dancer, so she was also one of these choreographers. Now this guy, I'm just going to name him X. So this guy was brought in to choreograph our dance, and see, I wouldn't really categorize him into a very good looking guy by general beauty standards and even as per my taste, but he's a very charming guy. I was charmed by him. So the moment he came in, there was a lot of hype created by the teachers as well. They're like, X is going to come, he's going to choreograph, listen to him, it's a great dancer. And then everyone's like, oh, X is a crazy dancer and all of that. So I was like, oh my god, let's see. And then he comes in, I was mesmerized by him. He was a very charming guy, and he had his way through. Like, he knew what dance steps he wanted us to do. He had so much clarity, and I was like awestruck. I was like, wow, I like this guy so much. And this was on the first day. And naturally, right, like I was in 6th grade, you see somebody from 10th grade, you have that, there is some aura around them, you know, around the seniors. So I was like really excited. And then what used to happen was, while choreographing our dance, in middle of the breaks, he would practice for his own performance. And I'm a big Allu Arjun fan, for those who don't know, but if you don't know, shame on you. He was dancing for one of his songs, which was My Love Is Gone, and it was a solo performance. And I was a big fan and he was a big fan too. So he was like, he used to dance so well, like killer moves, and we would all watch his practice and we were all like so mesmerized. I think everybody was, but I was in love. I was like, this is my Allu Arjun. I was so happy. I was like, I found my Allu Arjun. And I have this whole group of friends. They are, I mean, when I think about it, it's crazy how they really stuck through all of my misadventures and they were equal parts of it. That is so sweet of them. Even if they don't necessarily agree with me, they were just there. So I'm just going to give them fake names. So we had Rashi and we had a Myra, okay? At that time, Rashi and Myra were the closest to me. So we were like a trio. And I went to Myra and Rashi and I was like, guys, I love him. I really like him. And I think I have a crush on him. And Myra is like, what do you mean by a crush? And I'm like, I like him. Like, you like that person, you're attracted to him, and he doesn't know that's a crush. So I think I kind of introduced this term to them. And I also think I kind of introduced this term to my entire class. And I think, you know, a lot of teachers say that I kind of spoiled a lot of people back in school. Maybe at that time I was really traumatized by this accusation, but when I think about it, maybe I might have done that. But it's a debate, it's very debatable, and that is a debate for another day. Going back to my story, so I told them and they were like, they were all in with me and they would tease me and I would like giggle and all of that. And so I was able to take his name. X was fully unaware of it. He did not know of my existence. Obviously, I was not a good dancer. I wasn't doing anything that was out of the book. I was just standing there like this every time he was there and I'm like trying to dance. So I don't think he knew of me, but he knew of Rashi really well, because Rashi's sister was X's classmate and they were a whole gang and they, you know, were really close to each other. They knew Rashi really well and they kind of used to pamper her a lot because, come on, we were like 6th standard kids and they were like 10th grade kids. So every time he has to do like couple performance and all, he would pull Rashi in and they would dance, and I was happy because some association made me happy. And I know that if he pulled me to dance, I would die because my stage fright wouldn't let me do that. So I was like very happy. I'm very self-aware like that. So that happened. I used to like, this happened for 3 months and every 3 months I was like, oh my god, I like him so much, that's all. But I can't do anything about it because it's too much. And no, I mean, the guts came in later. At that time it was like, I have to do this performance. Everybody was really busy. So the D-Day happened and then like I performed whatever and then he performed and I was like, oh my god. When he was performing, I was the only one who had a digital camera back then. I think I'd say like as a kid I was pretty technically savvy. I had the best of gadgets is what I would say. Maybe others had better gadgets, but among my friends I always had like I was the first person to have, you know, a digital camera, a phone and all of that. And I got a digital camera and through the entire annual day I was right behind him and I would like click pictures. I'm guilty of that. At this point when I think about it, it's not acceptable, but as we go through you will understand that I'm sure he's okay with it. He was okay with it later on, but whatever. Not something I would promote, but I used to take pictures of him and I was standing there and recording the whole video, and all of my friends were like, oh my god, you guys dancing, and I was like, oh my god, and all of that. And it so happened that this like a very funny incident that happened, and I was like just, you know, like meandering around him wherever he was going. I was like going, picking food and like going around, and obviously he didn't notice me. But this is a habit of mine that if I talk about somebody a lot, I end up taking their name by mistake. So I would call Rashi X by mistake. You know, it happens like how your parents mix up your names. So I get my names mixed up. So I was like, one of my other friend, let's call her Laya, a random name because the first letter matches. So Laya was like teasing me. She's like, Sahiti, this guy, and I'm like, stop it, Laya. I wanted to say stop it, Laya. So I'm like, stop it, X. And X was there, and X looked at me, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I ran away. I don't think he even noticed. I don't think he cares. He cared. He just didn't know of my existence. The entire time I was meandering over him and all of that. By annual day, no, the passion for him really grew. So I was like, I want to do something about it. I really want to do something about it. And this is how I've always been. If I like somebody, see, in my language, see, I'm a go-getter in general. I go get anything I want. If I want something, I want it. I mean, not in a stubborn way, but in like, I will try my best to make it happen kind of a way. So I would call myself a go-getter, and that kind of translates into my love life. And as I put in more story time, that will get a little clear, and maybe I'll make another video on that. I also would like to admit that I was pretty boy crazy back at school, back at college. Until very recently, I am pretty boy crazy, but I'm very proud of the fact that I never chose boys over my friends. But I was pretty boy crazy, and I wouldn't say male attention in general, but a certain male's attention at all times. So I was boy crazy, and another video on that. But getting back to the story, I was just like really passionate after the annual day, and then I woke up next day and I'm like, you know what, I think I'm going to do something about it. So we were like, I went to Rashi and I was like, Rashi, Myra, I think I want to tell him. And they're like, how are you going to do it? He doesn't even know of your existence. I mean, we support you, but how are you going to do it logistically? So I was like, I don't know. What we can do is we should get his number. And then we tried so many things to get his number. We tried to ask Rashi's sister if she knew his number, and Rashi's sister is very proper. She won't support things like this, and she won't get in the way. You know, she just won't support things like this. So I was like, we tried to get number from her out of her phone and stuff like that, but it didn't happen. I don't think she owned a phone or something. So we were like, what do we do? And we were like, I think somebody, I don't remember at this point, but I think we had slam books. So I was like, Rashi, you know what, like everybody, so this happens, this is a general practice, whoever is graduating from the school, we random slam books go to them and they fill it, and they don't really question that. They won't be like, do I know you, why should I fill it? And they just fill it because they also know like they're popular and all of that. So I was like, can you get it filled? Then Rashi is like, okay, I'll do that. And then I can't be the only one sending a slam book, right? Somehow we passed on a bunch of slam books, and he filled up all of the slam books, and we got them back. It's like, and no, and he came to our class to deliver that, and I was like frozen. I was like, oh my god, slam books. And he left, and he was really confused. He was like, who the hell are these girls? And we got the slam books and we opened, only to see that we did not find his number. Then what happened was, I think Rashi's sister had a guy friend who I think liked Rashi's sister. So Rashi somehow convinced him to get the number or something like that. I still remember there was a little note on which we got X's number, and I am like, that's it, I'm going to call him. So one day what happened was, I think I called him a couple of times and I couldn't get to him. I think his mom lifted his call a couple of times. Somehow I couldn't get to him. But there was this one nice day when universe was in my favor or against me, you'll know. What happened was, Rashi, I keep taking the real name, Rashi came to my home. And we were like, okay, let's prank call X now. And then we were thinking about, we were like, what do we want to tell him? I was like, I want to tell him that, you know, he's this chocolate boy. There was a term back in the day, I was like, this chocolate boy, that I like him and all of that. Let's go tell him all this. And I was like, I can't do this alone. Rashi, you also talk. I'll also chime in a little bit. So what happened was, we were in my room and we were like all excited. And then my sister walks in. We have separate rooms, and she just walked in and she's like, what are you guys doing? Then I told her, like, you know what, I really like XU. I mean, by then I think she knew. I was like, we're trying to call him, and she's like, what do you mean? I'm gonna join. And I don't know, usually she's not like that, but I think she joined almost to protect me, because I think she knew that I would end up saying shit that would get me into trouble. I don't think she was very excited. I was just partly excited, because so basically I was in 6th, my sister was in 8th, he was in 10th, so he's also my sister's senior. Then what happened was, we three dialed and the call got through, and X picked it up, and he was like very, I don't know, he spoke very silently. He was like, hello, yeah, this is X, tell me. And he was talking like this, which is, you know, unusual, because he's a little like enthusiastic and all of that, but that day he was really quiet. We should have gotten the hint, we didn't get. So we were like, oh my god, you know what, I mean, we didn't introduce, like, it was a prank call, we were anonymous, so it was an anonymous prank call. We were like, you know what, we think you're really cute, you look like a chocolate boy, and I really like you, and all of that. Like, I think everybody was collectively telling, but all of us were establishing the fact that I like him. We were doing this for a while, and he was just listening, and all of that. And to be honest, predominantly Rashi and my sister were talking. I was quiet. I was on the quieter side. I was a little shy, so I wasn't talking. But the one time I got the phone, I ended up telling my address. So I ended up telling him about my apartment, say Galaxy. My wish, but Galaxy. Example, I'm living in Galaxy apartment, and it's very famous in our colony, and it's very famous. It's a well-known apartment in Visakhapatnam in general. The background of this was in Vizag. Okay, so the one time I got the phone, I ended up telling the apartment name. And then my sister's like, what are you doing? You can't say shit like this. Now I'm like, okay, fine, you guys talk. And they spoke for a really long time. I think it was a 30-minute call. In this process, and we told a lot of shit that a 6th standard grade student was not supposed to say. Nothing inappropriate, but just a lot of praise for a 10th standard kid. So he was just listening, and he was very quiet. And I was like, whatever, this happened. I was so happy that, okay, at least something started. Now he'll investigate who this is, he will get to me, and all of that. So I was very excited. Next day we went very happily to the school and all of that. And then I don't know, we had I don't know if this is a global thing, but back in India we used to have this physical training classes, which we call as a PT period, which is basically where you go and play. It is just one, you will get one of this in your entire week, where you can go onto the ground and play during the school timings. And it's just, everybody's so passionate about it. Like, the PT period is the day you're the happiest. Like, you're so happy because you're getting out of the class, and you know, you're playing, you can talk, you know, so many things. And everybody used to die for that period, especially because there will be some random teacher who will come and take your PT period also. So I was like so happy that we had a PT period, and you know, I was prepping, and we were all stepping out of the class. You have to make a line and go. And I stepped out of my class, and my sister was there, and she was like hyperventilating, just like walking back and forth. And my sister never comes to my class, and I was like, what happened? And she's like Sahiti, you know, yesterday when we called, it wasn't X, it was Pawan sir who picked up the call, because X was in Pawan sir's tuition. Now Pawan is a fake name again. So Pawan sir was a very, very strict teacher, and he never taught us. He only taught to the senior classes 8, 9, 10th, and my sister was shit scared of him. She would come home and tell, I hate Pawan sir, he's so scary and all of that. Apparently, X was in Pawan sir's class when he picked up the call. Why couldn't he tell us? Oh my god, we did not guess this, and we spoke so much shit. But it was, I mean, like, I was shocked, but I also really wanted to go to the PT period. I mean, I understood the gravity of it, but by this you'll understand how passionate we are about PT period. So I'm like, I know Akka, this is horrible, let's discuss, but only after the PT period. And my sister like, what the hell? I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to go. And I left to the PT period. Next day I came, and my sister was mad. I mean, evening when we met at home, my sister was mad at me. She's like, do you understand what happened? And I'm like, what happened? So Pawan sir goes to the class and he's like, how many of you live in Galaxy apartments? And then 2-3 of them raised their hand. My sister was also one of them, and he's like, can you all step out of the class? And then he sat right outside the class on a bench, and he made all of them stand in like a circle, and he's like, okay, you all live in Galaxy apartment, do you have phones? And then they're all like, yes. And he's like, can I get your number? And then he dials everybody's number one by one, and my sister is pretty smart. When it came to her, she's like, I only have my mom's phone or something like that, and she told her mom's number, and he dialed it, and it's like, not this one as well. Then he's like, does any one of you have a sister? Then everybody is like, Pravara has a sister. And then Pravara is like, yeah. And he's like, oh, which grade is she in? And then she's like, 6th grade. And he's like, 6th time kids won't do like this. I think he was telling, so he had another student turned assistant for him, who was like co-investigating this with him. So he was like, I don't think 6th standard kids would do this. He's like, okay, you can all go back to the class. And then he brings in the boys, and he was grilling them and all of that. Even long story short, he was hell-bent on finding out who this kid was, and he decided not to stop his investigation until he found who that person was. And guys, hell broke loose after that. It was crazy, because if he found out it was me, and unfortunately the only time my sister took part in my misadventures was this, if he found out that we both did this and Rashi did this, mind you, Rashi was a teacher's daughter, if he found this out, we would get suspended, kicked out of the school. There was no going back. Our parents would be called. I don't know what would happen. So much could have happened. And I think I had sleepless nights after this, but I was still in love with X. That is a different story. But I had sleepless nights, and this man did not stop investigation. So he went to my sister's class. So he went to 8th A, 8B. Then you had another board of classes, and he went to those classes. So I would just say he went to 8th A, B, C, D, did the same investigation. He went to 9A, B, did the same investigation. All of this kept happening every day. Every day we would have new developments. Apparently he called some guys, and he thought those guys knew who this girl is, and he tried to grill them and get it out of them, and they did not tell. So he kind of like really grilled them, punished them, like raise your hands and stand and stuff like that. And we would get this news in pieces every single day, and every single day we would be like, oh my god. I think Rashi was also scared, but not as scared as my sister and I, because if at all this comes out, I wouldn't really bring up her name, and she knows that. So I don't think Rashi was that scared. But yeah, we would have these voice boxes in each class. So if the principal makes an announcement, it directly reaches the class, and usually it so happens that if there is something indisciplinary that happens, the principal makes an announcement. They'll be like, Sahiti, please come to the principal's cabin, and then everybody would be like, and all of the classes would listen to that, and then everybody would know that something happened, and then they would ask what happened. So the entire school would anyway know. So every time an announcement would come from that voice box, I would think it's me. I was like, this is me, this is my last day at school. And I could not skip school, because if I skip school, I would miss information. I should know what was happening. So I was so scared. And by now my passion for X had left my body, because it was too much. So much was happening, and I was super scared. So it was just me about finding out what was happening, who was he investigating, and kind of doing damage control for that. But one good thing was that a lot of people nobody knew about this. Actually, it was just Myra, Rashi, my sister, and I don't think my sister told anybody in her class also, because what if they rat you out? This happened for really long, and so X had no contribution to this. I think he would just be there, and he would so basically X was Pawan sir's pet, and Pawan sir was principal's pet. So there was this whole hierarchy, and so if Pawan sir is pissed, principal would be pissed as well, and X would do whatever Pawan sir would say. So Pawan sir is winning anyway. So there was nothing I could do, and X was out of the picture. My passion for him left my body, sorry. And then I remember this one sweet thing that Rashi did to me at that time, and I'll carry this all my life. I think I'm tearing up a little. Okay, so there was this, when I was like really scared, right? I would be shitting in my pants every single day. Not literally, guys, I was not that small, but I would be shitting in my pants every time an announcement comes. I would like be hyperventilating. I think I grew older in that little 1 month. I like aged. I used to stress so much. And you know, Rashi comes to me and she's like, you know what, Saiti, I'll show you something. And she picks up a journal that she had, and this was the journal, and at the end there would be quotes, okay, and they were all positive thinking quotes. So she would show me, and she's like, you know, the more you fear about something, the more the more likely it's likely that it'll happen, the Murphy's law basically. And then she would be like, you can't change the situation by fearing it, and stuff like that. She sent me all those quotes, and you know what, like in 6th grade, that is so sweet of her, and I'll never forget her. And that's the reason why Rashi and I are still best friends. I'll cry. Okay, so and when Rashi did that, it kind of convinced me. I was like, okay, it's been a while, nothing happened, let's just hope nothing will happen. If it does happen, maybe I'll just go to a new school. And my parents were strict, but not to an extent that they'll, you know, not put me in any school, stop my education. They were definitely not like that. They would understand. In fact, my father understood what crushes were, and we had these conversations before. So, and they also know that I have a lot of crushes, so they were a little understanding in that way. So I was not as scared of my parents, but it's not something that I would like to have on my record and reputation in general. So 2 weeks went by, and I think the whole thing kind of watered down, and a little, I'm going somewhere to meet a friend of mine. So basically, she's not my friend. I think I'm not giving you guys a lot of context. So basically, I moved to Madison for an internship, and I'm exploring the city. I loved Madison. It's my vibe, you know. I like the aesthetic of it. A lot of bookstores, but you also have bars, and you know, they have farmers market on Thursdays and Sundays, and there is just people playing music and all of that. I'll try to give you guys a little tour when I go there. So I'm going to meet this girl. So how I know her is through my school again. Crazy. So basically, she was my classmates. She's my classmates back, I mean my school classmates sister. I think she's at least 5 years younger than me. And this guy who I've known him for years, right? Like, we grew up together. So I know his surname, and then we have these WhatsApp groups where all Indian students, I was part of University of Wisconsin's WhatsApp group. I still am, because you know, I need to know the housing and all of that. That's the only way you can get in touch with Indian community and find housing with Indian students, because I need to find temporary housing. So this girl sent a message in that, and I was like, I know this surname, I heard it somewhere, it's so familiar. And I go back to Instagram, I check, and I'm like, oh, this guy's sister. And I knew her, like I know her face, I know of her, but I'm not friends with her obviously, because like I'm way too senior to her. So I texted her, I'm like, are you this girl? Then she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm your brother's classmate. And she's like, I know you. I'm like, I'm popular. But anyway, so she said, you know, there's this famous Memorial Union place where I think it's a rooftop with a lot of colorful chairs, and there's live band. So I'm going there, so I'll be leaving in a while. What I'll do is I'll take the bus, get there, get down, and then give you guys a little tour and continue my story. What do you say? So I'm here at the Madison Street, guys. Look at me acting all like an influencer. It's so awkward for me. Yeah, so one thing I really like about Madison is that people dress up a lot over here. Back at Purdue, I used to feel like I was the only one dressed up, and I was always like inappropriately dressed because nobody was dressing up. Anyway, oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's crazy. I feel heckled at. I think they kind of heckled at me. Anyway, I don't care. So I'll just turn around the camera and show you guys the city. Yeah, so this is a beautiful stretch. And then you have like a lot of bars, a lot of cafes, and I think that's, I'm sorry, I'm a little unaware. I don't know what the name of that thing, but I think it's the capital square. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong later on. But yeah, I think I'd like to go there, find a spot, and record the rest of the video. Okay, so I'm here at the Capital Square and I want to find like a random spot, sit and talk. It's kind of crazy because I'm super like camera shy and in general very fearful of how people perceive me. But I walked up with. So for me to come, a really cute guy sat beside me. I don't think I can talk to a camera in front of him. Let me find a spot. I'm panting so much. You know, I just want to find a quick spot and finish my story, but oh, why did that cute guy have to come? What if he came for me? Helloooo. Okay, I'm just going to stand here and finish the rest of the story. Okay, I think this is kind of cute. I'll just finish the rest of the story. So what happened after that is that a lot of days passed by. No announcement was made. We thought Pawan sir never figured out that it was us. That's what we thought. But then everything settled down. We didn't get called, we didn't get fired and all of that. I mean, kicked out of the school and stuff like that. But then one fine day, I get a call from a random number. And that guy's like, is this Sahiti? And I'm like, yeah, who's this? And he's like, this is X. No, I don't think he called me. He texted me. He's like, hi, is this Sahiti? I'm like, yeah, who's this? He's like, this is X. And I'm like, what did I just read? X is texting me. I wanted this for the longest time. So I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I'm like, you know, you can call me when you're free. I was like, okay. And I was a little sus about it. So I kind of told Rashi, I told Myra, we all did a little bit of a investigation to see if it was him or if it was Pawan sir pulling some move. And then we found out from Rashi's sister's friend, who was X's best friend, that it was indeed X and he really wanted to talk. So then I called him and I think we got into a relationship. It's the funniest thing because I was a 6th standard kid, he was in 10th standard, and all we did was just talk on phone because he would be, you know, graduating soon and he was busy with his boards and I was too scared to meet him in person, so I would escape meeting him in person. But we were always talking on phone. By now he knew my name, he knew me. We just didn't meet each other directly, and I don't know, we were in the same school but we didn't. But he knew my sister and we would just exchange, we would just have eye contact and then exchange waves and all of that. And I know that like at one point he had study hours right in front of my sister's class and everybody was teasing him with my name because they knew my sister was there. So they're like, your sister-in-law is here and stuff like that. And it was a good relationship because I think we had all good then, okay, and he was really into me and I was also into him by now. So we had Orkut then. So I think on his last day he posted pictures of everyone and their girlfriends and he put my picture and he's like, ask me who she is. It was like really cute, but I'm not gonna lie, I was a little weirded out because I don't know, I was just weirded out. I mean, a little too much, right? Like to announce me as his girlfriend. I was like, what the hell? And then we spoke for really long. It went on for like about I think an year, I would say. And it was just us talking on phone. Like I would talk on phone and then sneak out of my house to recharge my phone. Recharge as in you put balance in it so that you can make phone calls and we would talk. That was the only thing I did. And then slowly, of course, like I mean, if you think about it, it's not cool, but I did lose interest because it was just phone calls, and by then he left the school. He started his 11th grade, and the 11th grade, it's not like I was going to go meet him and all, because I was a baby, right? Like, the only way I would step out is with my parents. So um I was not going to meet him for sure, and I don't think he wanted to come and meet me also. But we were just talking on phone for hours together, and I really got bored of it. Karma, because later on really bad things happened to me in my love life. But maybe is that the karma, I don't know. But after a point, I started ghosting him, and I'll be honest, like, I didn't know of a better way to deal with it, because I think I tried telling him that I'm not interested or something, but then he was like, why, we're in love and stuff like that. I was a baby, and you know, I was just like really into my school life. I really liked people over there and stuff like that, so I wanted to enjoy, and this felt more like a something that was inhibiting my journey. So I was like, I started ghosting him, and after a point when he kept calling, I started telling him that I would like make up a fake voice. Guys, I was a kid, okay? Please don't hate me for this, don't curse me for this. In case if this is something that really hurt him, then I did have my fair share of hurt as well. So the universe took care of the karma. You don't have to like curse me, but I would make up a different voice and say that no, this is the wrong number and stuff like that, and I kind of got rid of him. I remember that the last message was from him was during an excursion, school excursion. I went with my sister, and a lot of my friends came, a lot of my sister's friends came, and we were all like in the train going to Ooty, and on the way he gave his last text message to me, which was a goodbye message. He's like, never play with anybody's heart. And I was like, okay, whatever. So cocky. I was so cocky. And I know, like, it seems like a sad ending, but I really don't think if he even remembers me, and if he even remembers this whole thing. I mean, he should, because it was fun, okay? And he was in 10th, I was in 6th. For me, it's like really long ago. For him, it's not. So I mean, I don't think he remembers it. I don't think he cares about it at any point. But it's just a good school lore to tell, and it really got me very close to my friends. That's when Rashi and I became best of friends, because they went through this whole journey, and it's a whole different, you know, situation kind of a thing. So I think it was a good lore. At the end of the day, that's the only takeaway for me. Good lore for me to tell. So that's all for today. This was my first story time. If I was all over the place, I'm sorry about that. Hopefully I'll be back with another story time. See ya.